Everyone, welcome to the show. I always forget to mention up front, if you guys like the show, if you appreciate this content, please hit the subscribe button. It is a really easy, free way for you to show your support for the show, to help get more eyeballs on this content. So truly appreciate it if you could help me out with that. Again, it's on YouTube. Just click the subscribe button below, hit the bell. You'll be notified of all of my upcoming videos as they come out. So on to the news. USAID, there was an official there who was just fired. So this person's name is Nick Enrich, or Enrich, I'm not sure. He was just placed on leave. He had sent a memo to staffers in his department, and he warned them that freezing aid to other countries and all of these firings are going to end in tragedy. So Enrich wrote, these decisions, quote, will no doubt result in preventable death, destabilization, and threats to national security on a massive scale. So within 20 minutes of sending out this memo, he was let go. They put him on leave. The Trump administration is saying, oh, it had nothing to do with that. We had already made a decision to let this guy go. Really? Really? You're now circling back to USAID and firing more people or putting them on leave? Okay. And the Trump-Musk administration is claiming, well, we issued waivers. We issued waivers for medical aid and food and shelter and life-saving care. That is not true. There are multiple news reports showing that organizations and other aid recipients report that the freeze is still in place. They have not received anything. And just yesterday on Sunday, NBC News reported that there were 72 quote unquote life-saving programs that were through USAID, through that government agency, that remain unfunded. 72. On top of that, ProPublica said that in late January, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and one of his top aides, a guy named Peter Morocco, they promised, you know what, we do recognize that there's an issue here, that some of this is going to cause harm and people to die. So what we're going to do is we're going to issue a 3-month waiver, meaning that you guys can go ahead, you can keep paying this. And during that 3 months, we are going to go back, we're going to individually review each and every one of these programs so that we are not just, wholesale blanket getting rid of everything. That we're going to make sure that what we're getting rid of is legitimate and that it's not going to cause any harm. Well, 1 month after that, just 1 month after they made that statement, at the end of February, they wrote, quote, Rubio and Morocco completely ended nearly 10,000 aid programs in one fell swoop, including those they had granted waivers just days earlier, saying the programs did not align with Trump's agenda. The move consigns untold numbers of the world's poorest children, refugees, and other vulnerable people to death, according to several senior federal officials. Local authorities have already begun estimating a death toll in the hundreds of thousands. And according to this Enrich guy, there have been no life-saving funds or supplies approved since February 14th. And Enrich also, this is really interesting, he outed a Doge advisor for continuing to freeze this aid. So Enrich said in this letter to the staff that there's a Doge advisor who sent him an email and quote unquote warned Enrich to stop reviewing foreign aid payments. So even though Rubio and Morocco said, we're going to review all these things, we're going to go one by one, make sure we're not doing anything stupid and harmful, This advisor, this Doge advisor, told Enrich, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop reviewing all these programs, even if they're tied to life-saving services and supplies. And the advisor told Enrich that these reviews were, quote, delaying the timely processing of these terminations and notices. And he said that this was, quote unquote, unacceptable. So it's acceptable to kill children in another country, but it's unacceptable to hold up this process. So in a 7-page memo, Enrich told the staff, quote, USAID's failure to implement life-saving humanitarian assistance under the waiver is the result of political leadership at USAID who have created and continue to create intentional and or unintentional obstacles that have wholly prevented implementation. These actions include the refusal to pay for assistance activities conducted or goods and services rendered, the blockage and restriction of access to USAID's payment systems, followed by the creation of new and ineffective processes for payments, the ever-changing guidance as to what qualifies as life-saving and whose approval is needed in making that decision, and most recently, the sweeping terminations of the most critical implementing mechanisms necessary for providing life-saving services. So in other words, they're not just blocking, they're not just flat out blocking, they are making it more difficult to get these services, get these goods, get this aid to other people, and then they're making it harder to determine what is life-saving. They're not even sure who makes this decision. How do we go about getting something approved as life-saving? So it is such a shit show. And Reuters news outlet reviewed 2 memos that were sent by Enrich. So this one that he sent to his fellow employees or the staff. And in one of these memos, this Enrich guy estimated that a 1-year pause in aid would result in between 71,000 and 166,000 additional malaria deaths around the world, between 28 and 32% more tuberculosis cases worldwide, and up to 28,000 cases of infectious diseases like Ebola. Remember, this is a fake agency. Doge is not a real government agency. These people are not government employees. They have zero legal authority to do what they're doing. And what they are doing is literally killing people. And what pisses me off is you have these fake-ass Christians like Scott Jennings over on CNN. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he used to be kind of Trump skeptical. Now he is all in. He is fully on board the Trump train. Guy is a complete Trump humper at this point, and he has totally beclowned himself. So he is over on CNN the other night saying, oh, well, what has Doge done that's caused any harm? No one can point to that. No one can, and then he makes it out like, well, if it's not hurting Americans, what's the big deal? Like, no one has been able to, specifically point to anything that Doge has done that has harmed Americans. Well, first of all, I've done videos on it. I have done videos talking about the harm that it has done to Americans. Like taking their jobs away, like not being able to feed their families, not being able to keep a roof over their head. Beyond that, though, the damage to various states, like what's going on in Michigan, where I've laid out how the lampreys or lampreys in the Michigan lakes are going to just hyperpopulate and destroy fisheries and destroy that industry and decimate the fish in those areas. And I mean, the list goes on and on. There's so much harm that they have already done to Americans. But set that aside. Let's say nothing Doge has done. Let's be, totally oblivious, as Scott Jennings apparently is, and say, no, Doge has done nothing to harm Americans. Oh, so you don't care that people around the world are dying because of this? You don't care that children are dying of AIDS and other preventable diseases because of these assholes who are not government employees, people who have no background checks, who have never been approved, not elected, not approved by the Senate, and they're making decisions that are directly killing children. You have no problem with that, Scott Jennings and other quote unquote pro-life Christians, pro-life Republican Trump voters? Really? Fucking hypocrites. Go fuck yourself. I don't want to hear another one of you talk about the babies. Oh, we got to save the babies. No, it's a freaking zygote. Okay? It's not a baby yet. Not a baby. So all of you just shut up because you want to whine and cry about women having abortions after being raped that, could lead to her death because she is so beside herself with grief and torment and PTSD. But yet this is okay because the Trump administration, got to cut out the waste, fraud, and abuse. So which means got to kill children in other countries. But Scott Jennings is totally okay with that because in his mind, oh, it's not affecting Americans. Freaking hypocrites. That is all they are. Yeah, like I've said so many times, I used to be a swing voter. Stupidly, I have voted for Republicans in the past. I will never, ever, ever again make that mistake because I see them for who and what they are. Scum of the earth, devoid of any morals and any ethics. Bunch of beta cucks for Donald Trump. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I know this was horrible, horrible news, but yeah, we needed to share it. So thank you again. Please like this video, even though it was horrible. Not the content, but the overall theme and topic. Please share this with everyone you know so they understand what hypocrites we're dealing with here. That, oh, the babies, but no, we're going to go kill children, going to go kill babies in other countries. And that's okay. As long as they're not American, Republicans are good with it. And then please become a subscriber. As I mentioned in the beginning, it really helps out the show. If you can donate, really appreciate it too. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.